He legally confirmed. This is here. Unless this is made up, unless this is a false report, unless Nick and his wife are following false police reports. So what is it? Is it a false police report, Nick, or did you talk to the police? I think you talked to the police. I mean, you can't have it both ways. Now, some people are fighting over the word cooperating. And I know some people are saying, well, he's not cooperating because he's not going to be a witness. No, he could be a witness and would be a witness. In fact, if anything, Aaron's attorney would call him and put him on the stand and grill him about the details. We'll get to that. April reported there are pictures shared via the Signal app. The relationship ended in April. She found out on July 12th, the defendant sent a photo to GB on May 12th. AI texted both GB and KT. I think it's Keanu Thompson, fully identified in the police reports, who both confirmed that GB received a nude photo of KR. AI looked at defendant's phone records. So listen, this is crazy right now. This is what people don't realize. When your ex-wife is going through your phone records, because you had that joint phone account. You just had to share that phone account. Were you thinking that? It's kind of smart to have separate phone accounts. Just saying. It's 2024. Let's fix that. And confirmed there was a nude photo. AI said that he sent a nude picture/video at 9:23 a.m., which would have been during his talk show. A review of defendant's talk show, it shows defendant and GB participating. The two of them talk about KR and her tattoos. The defendant is seen scrolling through his phone.
Come on, not say, please. And I can say this because I'm a supermodel. You know, I can judge other people. I'm just saying, not a fan of the tattoo on the tip. That's all.
I mean, that's that I understand, Gino, and that's.
I'm not saying like if a hot chick like her had a tattoo on her tit, I'm like, no, yeah. Just saying, what are your thoughts on that? The big old tattoo on the tit.
Well, here, give me 1 second here.
Oh, here we go. And what is it while you're looking about that? Like Kiana has tattoos, and I don't know if you'd noticed this. Nuts about the girl, love her, greatest thing ever.
Check. Keep your.
What's that? But there are women I've seen that I've known over a course of time that I thought they were hot, and they had no tattoos, and then they got a shit text. By the way,
did you check?
I like tattoos more than I think.
Your boy didn't do too bad, did he? Look, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the healthiest decision I've ever made, but.
And looks like he is taking a screenshot and then tells GB to look at his phone. GB looks at his phone and says, I like tattoos more than I thought. So after looking at Kayla's nudes, it's like, well, I like her tattoos because she looks good nude. Defendant then responds, your boy didn't do too bad, did he? KR's and talked about in an explicit manner. So Aaron is like bragging about having sex with Kayla. GB confirmed he received a nude photograph of KR from defendant during a show. He described KR as a standing completely nude with her breasts fully exposed. So she's buck naked with her breasts fully exposed. So I mean, you could probably see her pubic mound, or I don't know if she has a bush or not, but whatever. You could probably see, you know, whether she's a bush or whether she's a runway or whatever she's got down there. So you're seeing all of it. He further described a tattoo under KR's left breast in the photograph. Later, law enforcement was able to confirm with KR that she did indeed have that tattoo under her left breast. So it's her. GB said he deleted the photo afterwards. KT said she saw the photograph on GB's phone. GB received a text from defendant, which was a photograph of KR nude. KT described KR as standing completely nude with both breasts fully exposed. KT said KR was identifiable by the photograph and she knew it was KR based on a photograph. KT confirmed GB deleted the photograph. Law enforcement spoke to the defendant. He acknowledged the relationship and used the Signal app. So now Aaron is talking to the police. So that's kind of whatever. I mean, I hope his attorney was approving of this or there. However, defendant stated he did not recall ever receiving or sending a nude photograph of KR. At least he's kept his kind of that open right there. He later said he did not want to definitively say he never received a nude photograph, but cannot recall being ever sent one. Defendant acknowledged using Signal. Well, using an app is not a crime alone. He has an online talk show where he live streams multiple times a day leading up to this offense. And since the incident, defendant has oftentimes talked about Kayla Rekieta and the things between himself, Kayla Rekieta, Nick Rekieta, and April Multi. Comments made during these live streams are concerning, especially in light of this incident. The state believes defendant will not stop and continue to harass KR unless and until conditions are set. That given, the state is requesting a body-only bench warrant to be issued. Complainant has reason to believe and does believe all the following is true and correct. The facts constitute your complainant's basis for believing the above stated defendant on or before the 27th of May committed the offense herein. What was the purpose of this? From Nick's standpoint, one of the purposes of this was a threat to him and an attempt to shut him up. An attempt to say, hey, you've got to shut up on your show. You've got to be quiet. We're going to silence you. Because Nick, one way or another, whenever anybody speaks ill of him, and that's whether Nick perceives you speaking ill of him. So even folks that are covering purely the legal side, like I do, or like Nate does, even more so than me, or others that have spoken about it, even Kurt's spoken about it, right? He'll attack everybody, right? If you say anything about him, because he wants to silence people. He does not actually believe in free speech and libertarianism. He believes in trying to choke people out and silence them. Of course, the only way he knows to do that is through ad hominem attacks, which, by the way, aren't worth responding to. But unfortunately, our boy has become legally Streisand. All right. So this is Nick's drug case, okay? So in Nick's drug case, you have 4 people involved. You have Aaron, you have April, Kayla, and Nick. Now, we need to focus from evidentiary standpoint, what is relevant? What is relevant between these parties? Well, obviously, Nick owning cocaine is relevant. So like them having cocaine is relevant. Nick and, the ketamine and everything else, that's all relevant. But when they get on the stand, what are they going to be talking about? What are they going to be talking about? Well, relevant for all of them is their use of drugs. So Aaron, April, Kayla, and Nick will all be asked about their use of drugs. Where did they see it? When were they using it? Were the children around? So drugs is common for all. When they talk about the messages between Nick and Aaron, let's talk about that. The signal between Nick and Aaron. What are they going to be talking about? They're going to be talking about the cocaine skepticism. So Aaron was opposed to Nick using cocaine. So Nick was trying to push Aaron to use cocaine. So they're going to be talking about that. Okay, Nick and April. Well, April was lured into this relationship, like many women, with cocaine. Many people who have no skills with women use cocaine as a currency because they have no actual skills. They can't actually do anything else. They don't have a personality. They don't have the ability to charm anyone, to perhaps offer anything to them of value as a man other than drugs. It's a very common thing. And so this coke as currency between Nick, that's relevant, right? So Nick saying, hey, I'll give you a gram if you come over and blow me while I'm streaming, right? That's relevant. That would be relevant as a message between the two, right? Aaron and Kayla, I think Aaron was also pushing back against the cocaine use, but also from what we see here, there might have been ketamine involved, and the ketamine is relevant, right? Because it's a drug, so ketamine is relevant there between these two. And then, April and Kayla, whatever girl talk they had is relevant, but it's only girl talk about drugs. It is not girl talk about anything else but drugs. So if they were scissoring, if they were, whatever they were doing, if they were going to male strip clubs, if they were hiring, male escorts, that's not relevant here. It's only girl talk about drugs. That's what's relevant here. So nudes. So now the center of all of this is nudes. So this case is going to involve the nudes that were exchanged amongst all parties. Now, these nudes, mind you, can be exchanged in all of these relationships. So maybe April sent Kayla nudes, maybe Aaron sent private nudes that were not in the group signal, right? Which will be very interesting. Maybe Nick sent nudes to Aaron. Like I said, I imagine there's some broke back shower text, a little bit of tip of the hat to Joshua Moon. Those shower texts. Nobody wants a shower text. Nobody wants a shower text. So maybe there's some like broke back stuff going on there. There's a little bit of speculation that Nick and Aaron, the real fallout was here, not here or anywhere else, that this was the real fallout. Who knows, right? But now this is relevant. If Nick and Aaron were engaged in a side relationship, right? If this was like, that is now relevant. This, mind you, this was not relevant before. It is now relevant to this case, because that dynamic within the overall structure of the relationship is now subject to question. And Nick following a false police report, perhaps, who knows, right? So Nick and April, they're mistress exclusive. So the stuff that Nick is just sending to April, because the reason why, and let me just get really clear here, the reason why most of these type of structured open relationships do not generally work is because what happens is this, is that when you have a mistress, so these two are married, but this is the mistress. When you have a mistress, you end up communicating in an intimate way with something emotional or something personal that this person doesn't know about. And what could be the nuclear bomb for his relationship, and what could really get Kayla to flip, is if during the course of this investigation, these are exposed. So if this mistress exclusive, what Nick is sending to April, if this mistress exclusive stuff is exposed, that can cause real issues here, real substantial issues here. Of course, between April and Kayla, I once again put girl talk, but girl talk now isn't just related to drugs, anything they're talking about. So when they talk about, for example, Nick's impotency, right? Or Aaron being the best that Kayla ever had, right? Or April not getting an orgasm from Aaron. That's all relevant now. Before, that was just laughable stuff. That was just stuff that like Kino Casino would be talking about, over there, PPP and Worski. They'd be, hucking it up about that or other channels, but it wasn't legally relevant. Now that's relevant, because it goes to the context of the overall relationship and whether or not there was consent for this, right? Because the relationship dynamic might, through a reasonable person's lens, particularly through Aaron's lens, imply consent. Also, between Aaron and Kayla, all of those text messages trashing Nick, saying he's got whiskey dick, whatever else, that's all relevant too. Because if Aaron and Kayla have texts that kind of show, hey, I want you to do this without Nick. I want you to send it, right? Send it. Don't tell Nick. That's piss him off, right? That often happens as well. All of that can come out, and it has to come out if it goes to trial. Some of you may not be aware what is going on with this, and you need a little bit of background. So it was confirmed effectively that Nick went to a resort known as Hedonism 2 by some humble fruit farmers. So here's a photo of Hedonism 2. You see this is that actual wall, and the serif font is there. That's actually what I used for my thumbnail, right? That's a photo from Hedonism 2. This is a known swinging resort, right? Where you go to swing. And Nick followed some staff members from that as well, was exposed on that end. Now, Hedonism 2 and the environment of Hedonism 2 is very voyeuristic. So people are in the public, you're just in the public area having sex. And once again, this is something that I always said was irrelevant. It's legally relevant. It's now relevant because somebody who is engaged in open voyeurism or what we call exhibitionism does not have a reasonable expectation of privacy of a nude. If you are engaged in open voyeurism and open exhibitionism, and there's proof of that, and that can be substantiated, right? If Aaron can say, no, she's an exhibitionist, right? Here's proof. Particularly, and this is Hedonism 2. I'm going to show you a little clip. If she was at Hedonism 2 in this situation, let's play this right here.
Hedo's Playroom has a brand new toy. Come check it out with me. Isn't that just glorious?
We'll just leave it right there. So, if while at this resort, they were engaged in this, right? There would be no expectation of privacy, right? You would not be able to say, hey, I thought this was private, right? It's a relevant fact. But obviously you see the photo here, and if you see the serifing on the font, you can see this is the Hedonism logo on the bottom, clearly the same area. I added the Baldo for emphasis here, right? But obviously she has very identifiable tattoos, and I censored it because I want to be YouTube friendly here. I want to be YouTube friendly, so this is YouTube friendly. It censors out the badonkadonk or lack thereof on both, right? But if they are engaged in this level of voyeurism and they're open about it and they share these photos, they put this out here, right? Then do they have a reasonable expectation of privacy? That's a very fair question legally. And you're going to say you're going to put your wife on the stand and your wife is going to have to talk about your level of voyeurism. Your mistress is going to have to talk about that. And you're going to have to kind of go to your audience and be like, well, you know, but like Solomon though, like David though, you know, like I'm going Old Testament with it.